how to buy tax lien properties in Texas. So welcome back. This episode, I'll answer your question, how to buy tax lien properties in Texas. My name is Ted Thomas. For the last 30 years, I've been involved in helping students purchase tax lien certificates, tax defaulted properties, and even redeemable tax deeds. And I'm going to talk about those things today, and I'll let you know that this is a really lucrative way to make money. It's not very well known by the public, but it always works. But it takes a little bit of learning on your behalf to make profits. But it's a business that's been around for 200 years, and it's available in all of the different counties. Each of the counties can have their own rules. So today we're going to talk about how to buy tax lien properties in Texas. Now, Texas is a popular state for doing this because the rules in Texas allow you to earn up to 25% in the first year. Now, that's a pretty powerful rate of return. Now, Texas is pretty serious about the collection of taxes. So that means if a tax lien is filed on the property, that the county will take action. And the action they'll take is they'll actually sell a deed to the property to the public. Now, that deed is a redeemable deed. Now, a redeemable deed simply means that the public will purchase like they would at any auction. They'll bid the deed up, and whatever that deed sells for, the county will collect that money. All right, now once the county has the money, the property owner can come in anytime, pay back that money that was owed for the taxes and so on, and pay a 25% penalty, and they'll get their deed back. So that's the good part for the person that lives within the state. All right, now the other side of that is if you're a tax deed buyer, in this case it's a redeemable deed, you can earn up to 25%. Now there's a lot of unusual rules that have to be learned along the way. Does that mean that you can't do this? No, you can do it, but you need to understand the rules. For example, when the auctioneer sells, they're selling a redeemable deed. That means that people can come in and pay you. Now when they pay you, you're going to make a 25% return. However, it doesn't mean that they've wiped out the mortgage as they would in a tax lien state. So when you buy, the property could still have a mortgage there. All right, can you kick the people out? Yes, you can go through processes of doing evictions and so on, but do you want to do that? I mean, if someone's in the property and they redeemed and you've kicked them out, then there's a whole bunch of challenges. So you need to understand the rules. So in today's episode, what I'm answering the question about is a tax lien is filed, okay, but what they sell in the state is the tax deed to the property. Now stay with me for a minute and I'll be right back, and I'm going to show you when I come back, number one, how you can get a free gift when I finish, and also how you're going to avoid problems at the tax auction. So it doesn't matter whether you're experienced or a new investor, people make big mistakes at those auctions, and I'll come back and tell you about that in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. In this episode, I'm answering the question, how to buy a tax lien properties in Texas. Now, when they do the auction in Texas, they auction a deed. It's a redeemable deed. That means the property owner can come back at any time and redeem that deed, which means you're going to get their property back. Now, to redeem the deed, they have to give you or the county all of the money that was bid plus 25%. All right, now let's think that out a little bit. When you buy the property, you're going to know that that property owner can come in and redeem. So that makes it very much like a tax lien certificate. But all of the counties are allowed to have their own rules. The state of Texas is going to be different than Georgia. It's going to be different than New York. It's going to be different than California. So that means all 254 counties in that state are authorized to publish property tax auctions. In other words, defaults. That also means they're authorized to have an auction. So you need to learn the rules, okay? Now, in all instances, no matter where you are in the United States, when taxes are due, the counties can take action. So basically, the county treasurer starts out by making a levy. Then after they make the levy, they're allowed to go collect those taxes. If they can't collect the taxes, some states, they'll just go ahead and issue a tax lien certificate. They don't do that in Texas. Texas, the certificate, the lien will be there, but they will auction the deed to the property. So that's a pretty severe and actionable thing that they're doing. They're saying, look, we're going to take action and get our money. So they auction those deeds, and if you're in a large county, there could be 200 or 300 of these deeds available. All right, when you buy the tax deed in Texas, you're going to pay whatever the maximum bid is. You'll be the maximum bidder. When you're the maximum bidder, you paid maximum bid. That property is redeemable. So it's a redeemable deed that you're buying. So the property owner can come in and redeem any day that they want to. You're going to make a 25% penalty. Now, when they sell the deed, unlike other states, the other states, basically, the deed is eliminated. The deed is not eliminated in Texas. And if the property owner doesn't want to leave the property, you'll have to think about doing an eviction. All right, did I say it was easy? It's not easy, but it's not difficult either. You need to learn the rules. All right, now the property tax is just a small percentage of what the property value is. Property taxes are generally 1 or 2%. So today the episode is all about how to buy tax lien properties in Texas. Well, a tax lien is filed, but in Texas, they're serious. They're going to sell a redeemable tax deed. So the government comes up with that. These auctions usually take place in a large hall or sometimes the courthouse steps. It could be a constable. It could be someone representing the school district. It could be the sheriff. They're going to have an auction. They might have multiple auctions going on. Okay, thousands of property owners will go into default. And when they do, once the lien is filed, then they'll ultimately sell at auction. Every month they're going to have redeemable deeds that they're going to sell at auction. Now keep in mind, a lien is an encumbrance against the property, so it must be paid. Now, those liens are filed in every property in the United States. So every property has that lien against it. In Texas, they're going to sell the deed to the property, and they're going to leave the mortgage in place. So keep all that in mind. All right, now the Texas legislature made all these rules. I didn't do that. Okay, but the county treasurer has power, and the school districts in Texas have power. And they have the power to not only levy taxes, but to collect taxes. And if they can't collect them, they have the ability to confiscate or sell the properties at auction. All right, so what's in it for you? Well, what's in it for you is a huge profit. Now, the profit is a 25% return. Now, they might get all that done in 6 months' time. If they don't get it done in 6 months' time, you get the property. Now, think about that. So that's pretty darn good. Now, once I realized years ago that I could get properties for 5, 10, 20 cents on the dollar, I gave up on regular real estate. So I'm not suggesting you give up on anything, but I found out I changed my whole investment strategy because each one of these counties was a little gold mine as far as I was concerned. Now, is Houston, or say Dallas or San Antonio the only place? There's 250 counties in Texas. You might just specialize in a small county. Will there be a lot of properties in a small county? No. It could be as many as 50, but you need to get to know how they're doing it. As I've been in this business for a number of years, I need to tell you, it's getting easier and easier every year. Now, you just tuned into a video to learn a little bit about it, but I'm going to tell you, the counties were pretty old-fashioned. Now, are they changing rapidly? No, but they're changing, and they're starting to do things online. All right, now, as these auctions come online more and more, you need to spend a little time with one of our facilitators and learn how to do these online. So we teach that at least once a week. The point I'm trying to make is the business is getting better. There's more abundance because there's so many tax properties. It's going to be 2.5 million properties will end up in some kind of tax default this year. Public doesn't know a lot about this. There are some specialties out there, specialists I should say, that know about it. But this is a chance for you to make some real good money. Now, I started teaching my students 25 years ago, and I can tell you, it got easier and easier every single year. So what did I talk about today? Well, I talked about how to buy tax lien properties in Texas. But they're not going to call it a tax lien. They're going to call it a redeemable tax deed. You're not going to be at a county auction in all the cases. You're going to be in an auction room where there's sheriffs and constables and people representing school districts and people representing the county and whatever. So it's a little different with their rules, but the rate of return is phenomenal. What you need to do next is learn more. There's plenty of other videos in this channel. Plus, you need to get the county rules. If you don't understand the rules, don't go to the auction. Okay, the winner doesn't necessarily get possession right away. You need to find out, are you going to get possession? Are you going to have to make evictions? What are you going to have to do? It's going to be up to you to learn. I couldn't possibly know all the rules in 254 counties in the state of Texas, but they will have rules, and every one of them is accessible online. All right, the owner, when you buy that redeemable deed, only has 180 days. That means if they don't pay you all the money you invested plus a 25% return in the 180 days, you're going to get the property. I didn't say the mortgage was wiped out. I did say you might be taking over that mortgage and be required to pay it. All right, delinquent taxes is where you started. Where you might end up is you might end up getting all your money back plus a 25% return. I don't know where you're going to get a 25% ROI on anything. So that's a real powerful return in Texas. Now, I'm finishing up now. I'm going to do 2 questions before I leave.
Ted, how much money do I need to get started?
How much money do you need to get started? Well, if you want to buy a little tax lien certificate, you can do it for $500. I would say to get started, you need $10,000 to $30,000, which scares a few people away. Yes, I have people that buy for $300. Yeah, I've got clients that buy houses for $300. I don't want to tell you that you're going to do that. I've never done that, but I don't want you to buy junk. Junk is always going to be junk. So if you can get a $100,000 house for 20 cents on the dollar, that's a couple of $20,000. But if you got it for 20 cents on the dollar, your margin is $80,000. For me, I would sell that house for 50 overnight or even 45 to make a quick sale, make myself 25 grand. That's my investment philosophy. I buy it low, I sell it low, but I do it fast.
How long do the tax sales last?
Let's see. Longest one I've ever seen is, or even heard of, was a tax lien sale in Cook County, Chicago. Now, in the old days, back when I had black hair, they took out a 3x5 card, they read the property number, and then they started the bidding. Well, if they had 100,000 of those, the auction could take 100 days. Seriously, 100 days. So that's ridiculous. Now they do that online in a matter of hours. All right, so they eliminated that. All right, today, if you go to an auction of actual property, I've been in Los Angeles where it took all day and ran into the second day. It's not unusual in New York to see that they would have so many properties they couldn't get finished in one day. So you're going to have to make a plan, and they will tell you how many days it's going to be. They know because they're going to have people help them. Or if the county does it, they'll have to keep changing county employees every hour because people just run out of voice. So they'll know how long it's going to take. So check with the individual county and they'll tell you. Folks, there's a couple of things you want to be careful of. And there's 2 mistakes that people make at these auctions. And the 2 mistakes can cost you a lot of money. So mistake number 1 is don't buy any property that you haven't looked at. Now, why do I tell people don't buy a property? What if it was next to a chicken barn that had terrible smell? You wouldn't want that property. What if it was next to a railroad? You might not want to own that property. What if there was a fire? Oh my goodness, could burn the property down. So when you buy at the auction, you're buying as is. So if there was a tornado last week and it wiped it out, you're going to have a damaged property. So you need to look at it relatively close to the auction. All right, second big mistake people make is they get involved in the auction and they're so excited about getting a property, they're just going to buy something and they keep bidding and bidding until they get something. Folks, the object of the auction is not, the objective is to buy a property that has plenty of margin. So you don't want to buy a property unless you already know what that margin is. In other words, you've got an exit strategy. The exit strategy is just as important as purchasing the property. So don't buy a property unless you've looked at it and you've already planned your exit strategy, because you may pay too much and then you're in trouble. Now below me is a free gift. It's absolutely free. It's called a Safe Haven. You want to learn about tax lien certificates, all the secrets are there. If you'd like to learn about tax defaulted property, you can learn the big profits that are made there. That's a free gift from Ted Thomas. I'll see you in the next video.